Have you ever found yourself in a place in your walk where you feel like you're doing all the things you're supposed to do? You're praying, you're fasting, you're reading, you're serving, however, you feel far from God. You feel anxious, you feel fearful, and you feel that more than you do faith. Welcome back to She is Brittany Nicole, and thank you so much for joining me today. This is the place where we have authentic conversations about faith, our life, and everything else in between. And if you haven't noticed, my voice is a little light today. And that is because I had an upper respiratory infection and I'm still recovering from that. But I said I'm gonna go ahead and make this video anyways because the last video I said I'm standing on business. That's what I said. And I said I'm gonna be more consistent. So I'm gonna try not to make this video too long just because my voice is kind of going in and out. But please do go ahead and be patient with me, stick around. And the topic that we're going to talk about today is very personal to me. It is very near and dear to my heart. And it is all in regards to having a performance based relationship with God. So I'm just going to start off with talking a little bit about my background or my walk with the Lord. So I have been walking with Him for about 15 to 20 years. And I actually made a commitment to the Lord when I was younger, maybe like around 8 or 9. However, I would say that my relationship with Him, I wouldn't say that it was like really serious until I got into college. So around 20, I believe, yeah, it was maybe like 19 or 20 is when I started to get into ministry at college. So I was in ministry from the age of 20 to around right now, 36. And I have been hearing the Lord say for the last 2 years or so, like, hey, I want you to step back from ministry and church and really to focus on the relationship that you and I have. And to be honest, that was so hard for me to do. I actually had a conversation with a leader in my church probably about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago in regards to stepping back. And it was a very hard decision for me to make because I actually have been hearing the Lord say that for a couple of years. Now, I wasn't in this ministry for a couple of years, but overall, I've been hearing the Lord say for at least about 3 years, like, I just really need you to step back and rest and take some time with me. But I didn't listen. And I really had to sit with the Lord and ask myself, like, why is ministry so important to me? And what came to my mind is like, of course, ministry is important because it's important to you, Lord. Like, this is what you want me to do, of course. But God was like, I am more concerned with your soul. I am more concerned with our relationship than I am with you being a minister or not. And right now, I need you to step away because I want you. I want you. I want your full attention. And what I did not know was that I had placed ministry above God. That is where I received most of my validation. That is where I received um, a lot of just the feelings of security of I'm pleasing God. This is who I am. I'm a minister. I'm doing the works of the Lord. And God was like, listen, all of that is great. You ministering is great. However, when it becomes more of a measurement of how much you think I love you or don't love you, that's a problem. It's a problem. And it was a problem. So, um, you know, what I don't want you to take away from this video is that you need to drop out of ministry. If God ain't say that, don't do that. And don't say I told you to do that because you lying. You better hear from God. Okay. But one of the things that the Lord was also telling me is that, like, you have used these formulas: praying, reading, fasting, ministry as a measurement in regards to how much I love you. And you've used this as a measurement of, oh, you must be a good Christian. Pat on your back. You praying, you reading, you fasting, you check that off today. Okay, I'll see you. But again, all of those things were measurements for me to keep checking in. God, you happy with me? You pleased with me? And it became an anxiety provoking. It became like a sense of fear to where if I was not doing these things, then God must love me less. If I'm not doing these things, then oh my goodness, he about to smite me. I'm looking up in the sky like, oh my gosh, I didn't go to church today. I'm tired. I'm sick. You better get out of that bed. I don't care if you're sick. You go to church and let him heal you. And God was like, baby girl, I need you to rest. I have given you a temple and I need you to tend to it as well. So like a lot of the stuff that I was doing was just out of whack and it wasn't coming from a pure place. It was coming from a constant need of validation from God. And, God was just telling me like that is unhealthy. Every time that you feel like you may have messed up or you didn't meet the mark, you're afraid of me, and it's not coming from a place of reverential fear of like you're fearing the Lord out of respect, but it was no, he is an angry judge and he is waiting at some point in time to go ahead and drop the hammer on you. And God was like, you missed it. You missed what you've actually been reading about. You have great attendance at church, but you're listening here, but it's not penetrating this place. It's not penetrating your heart, because there's nothing that you can do to earn my love. And I actually want to read a couple of scriptures. Darn, my computer is over here, so I'm gonna have to get it. And because I wrote down few scriptures that I really want to read off to you. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Romans 11:6 says, and if by grace, then it cannot be based on works. If it were, grace would no longer be grace. So I have forgotten about grace. God's unmerited favor towards me, his love towards me. I felt that if I did more, right? If I prayed more, if I read more, if I fasted more, if I served more, then I will earn more salvation. Not understanding that what God did on the cross was what he did. He did that. I was not on that cross, right? I wasn't there. He was there. And the sacrifice that he made was perfect. And there's nothing that I can do to add to my salvation because it is a free gift from him, which goes into our next scripture, which is Ephesians 2:8 and 9. It says, God saved you by his grace when you believed, and you can't take credit for it. It is a gift from God. Salvation is not a reward for the things we have done, so none of us can boast about it. And the Lord was just really talking to me about a gift. When someone gives you a gift, it is not something that they are asking you to work for. They have given you this gift because they love you, they care for you. Usually, when someone gives you a gift, they had to buy it with their own money, or they spent time um, thinking about what is it that my friend needs or my significant other needs. I want to meet a need for them and I want to give them this gift, but how rude would it be for you to throw this gift back in their face and say, no, I don't want the gift. I actually would rather work for this gift. It shows that you don't fully appreciate the gift and you don't really fully understand the significance of the gift or what that person had to sacrifice in order to give you that gift. And that is what I felt like the Lord was saying to me, was like the sacrifice that I made on the cross. You don't fully understand it. You don't fully understand the weight of it. And it actually, even though physically I endured pain, it still pleased me to give you this gift. And I think one of the things that I got twisted in my mind was this gift is unconditional, right? The love that the Lord has for us, he gave us this gift with a unconditional love. But sometimes we will see it as the way that we view men and women in the world, the way that we view people. When they give us gifts, sometimes it's not with, an unconditional type of love that comes with it. It could be a lot of strings that come attached to a gift that someone else gives us. But with God, he's not like man. He's not like women. He's not like people. When he gives us something, we have to believe that it comes with a pure motive and that there's nothing attached to that gift, that he gives it to us from his free will and because he loves us. And there are people in our lives who give us things, and it does come from an unconditional place. But what the Lord was also showing me is that the way that I operate with him is the way that I operate with others. That I've allowed the views of others and the experiences that I've had with other people to taint the way that I see God. And God is not asking me to do anything to earn his love. Sometimes people do that. Sometimes people have us jump through hoops and to do things in order to um, to earn love. But God is not like that. And he also showed me that there has been a lot of great relationships that I missed out on because I was in a performance mode. I felt like, hey, let me do something. I have to do in order to sustain this relationship, to sustain this friendship. And that's unhealthy. Like the Lord was just really showing me that that can be a very unhealthy thing. That when you have genuine people around you who want nothing but the best for you and who only want to love you, but you feel that you have to do things in order to earn their approval, or you have to do things in order to feed that insecurity or that place of validation that you need for someone to say, I see you, I love you, or I see that you're doing a good job. And God is like, no, I don't want that for you. I don't want you to feel like you have to perform. And I want to go ahead and read something that I wrote down. And the Lord was just showing me that I, in my life, have been creating a lot of unnecessary burdens for myself. And that the equations that I've been putting together, as far as like reading more, praying more, if I do this or if I do that, God will love me more. Um, he was showing me again that it shows up in relationships. And if I'm in a relationship with someone, even though it may look like I am doing things to please them, which is a great thing. You're in a relationship, and I'm not just talking about like a romantic relationship, but a friendship. Um, Even a relationship with, your mother or father or brother. Sometimes when we're doing things for people, it seems like really sweet, very genuine. Um, but when we are only serving that person so they can feed a validation or feed a place of insecurity or to feed our voids, then what we are doing to serve that person is actually not coming from a genuine place of service. It is coming from a place of self serving. Okay. We are actually more selfish than what we think because we're not doing it so that, we can see a smile on that person's face. We're doing it because we want that person to say, I see you, I hear you, I validate you. And those are all genuine emotions and feelings and things that we need. However, when we feel like we have to perform, when we feel like we have to do this song and dance, it becomes exhausting. And God doesn't want that for us. He wants us to show up in the world and just be ourselves. And for us to receive love from people and not to feel like we always have to do something in order to feel love because we already are. And I just thank the Lord for reminding and showing me that because I didn't think it was big of an issue. I really didn't. I did not. And I really didn't see myself as that person at all. And God was just showing me like, no, you do have a need for validation. And don't get me wrong. I think we all have that need to be seen and to be heard. It's not even a think. We do. We all need love. But we cannot enter into a relationship with God and with others feeling like we have to perform in order to receive love. That's not what He wants for us, and especially not in a healthy relationship. When you are in a relationship with someone and in a relationship with God, He wants us to receive love just because we're worthy of it. We're worthy of love, okay? So, one of the things that the Lord was also showing me was that I was becoming very anxious and very fearful. And like I was just waiting for the Lord again to drop the hammer on me if I wasn't doing something. And it really went into a place of perfectionism where I felt like I had to always be one. I had to always be doing something. And again, it showed up in relationships. It showed up on my job, where it was like, okay, I have to make sure I do these things perfectly because if I don't, then this will happen and blah, 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 blah. And God was like, I don't want you to live in a place of constant perfectionism and a constant fear. And what the Lord was showing me, He was like, there is a remedy to that. There is. And just going back to the whole faith based piece, I thought the remedy was solely read more, pray more, fast more, serve more. And again, hear me, these are all things that are essential to your faith walk. It absolutely is. Reading, praying, fasting, all of those things, they do draw us closer to the Lord. But again, when it becomes a metric system, a measurement system of if I do these things, then God will love me more, then, we really have not gotten into the depths of God's love, right? So, one of the scriptures that the Lord brought to mind was Matthew 11:28 through 30, which says, Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon me, take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So again, the Lord was showing me that the anxiousness, the fear, the worry that I am feeling because I'm scared of messing up, He's like, hold on. That's not the way that I want you to live. That is not what having a relationship with me should result from. Like, no, that is not what should happen. What I actually want you to do is to spend some time with me. I want you to come away with me. I want you to lean into me. I want you to trust that when we have a conversation, when I'm spending time with you, when we're talking and we're communing and you're meditating on the word, I'm lifting off these burdens. I'm lifting off these worries. And again, prayer, fasting, all wonderful things. But He's like, I'm the remedy. I am the remedy to your worries, to your problems, to your fears. It is not work harder, but it is come to me. If you feel heavy, if you feel burdened, if you don't know where to go, come to me. I'll show you. I'll lead you. And I love that He says that my yoke is easy and my burden is light. We're carrying burdens in this world. We're carrying yokes. And He's like, wait a minute, let me carry this with you. Because when we're yoked with the Lord, and I'm just thinking of the oxen. You have two oxens, and typically, when you are yoked with a oxen and you're plowing in the field, and this is the example that He's giving when He says, like, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. He's comparing it to two oxens, and there's one oxen that is more stronger and more powerful than the other, and that oxen would be Jesus, right? So He's saying the yoke that I'm carrying, I'm going to carry the burden of it for you. So you don't have to do all of that. You don't have to worry. You don't have to fret. How am I going to do this? How am I going to make this happen? God is like, I just want you to relax and I want you to rest. And that's what He's been showing me, is that He just wants me to come away with Him and He wants me to rest in Him. Okay. And that's what I'm praying for you, is that you know that you don't have to perform in order to receive God's love, that He already loves you because you are loved, because you are loved, because you are loved, because you are loved, because He loves you. There's nothing that you can do to earn it. There's nothing that you can do to earn His salvation. You can't pray more or read less. You can't fast more or fast less. Less, less. That's how you say it. He's like, I love you regardless. There's nothing that you can do. There's nothing that will separate you from my love. That is what He's saying to us. Yeah, I just had to get some water. I had to pause real quick. But before I leave, I just want to go ahead and read these lyrics that I was listening to today, and it's by Maverick City Gyra. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this before and you've sung this song before. But my prayer is that we don't just sing it and it stays here, but it really travels down to our heart. And this is a portion of the lyrics that I want to read. It says, I'm already loved. I'm already chosen. I know who I am. I know what you have spoken. I'm already loved more than I could imagine. And this is enough. You are enough. God delights in you. He loves you. So be loved.